Okay, for the sake of argument, let's pretend I have 4 VFX shots in this sequence that I need to get into my VFX database. I've marked and named them. So for starters, I'm probably going to need to add a visual burn-in with the shot ID, and people do this a few different ways, either manually maybe, or some type of EDL to subcap conversion or something like that. But you might not do that whole EDL dance for only 4 shots, so we're not going to do that here. So you just fly through and add your burn-ins. And you're also going to need to generate thumbnails for each shot. So you can do that with the locators or with the markers. But they're going to need a little bit of cleanup. So you'd likely use some type of automation utility for that. And here I'm going to use an app called Renamer, and that cleans up the shot IDs. And once that's done, I can bring them into whatever database system I'm using. Here, this is Airtable, and those will create shot records, and I can fill out a description of the VFX work that's going to be done. And now I need to add my shot durations. Just going to do that manually for these 4 shots. And again, I'm sure that a lot of VFX editors might parse an EDL to get this, but I'm just doing these 4. So, okay, so now I flip back to Avid and subclip the plates and other elements for each shot into a bin and add the VFX ID. I can then export the bin as a text file and open in my spreadsheet app, and my polls can now be brought into my database as well. All in all, that takes about 7 minutes. Okay, so how might I do this same thing in Final Cut? Well, for starters, I think that we should double the number of shots this time. Let's do 8. And instead of markers, we'd probably use compound clips to mark and label the shots. So using the timeline index, we can quickly copy only those shots from the timeline and paste them into a new sequence. And if you want, you can pull out the filler, copy again and paste on top. Then you break those compound clips apart, and your corresponding shot elements now sit on the layers above. And you can assign them a role, like this maybe, VFX element. Now for your thumbnails, the best way I know of is to just mark them manually, unfortunately. I wish it was as fast as Avid's marker export, but the good thing is that the browser in Final Cut makes this pretty quick. So I set those to export, and now I export an XML of my sequence as well. And I can open that XML with a third-party app called Producer's Best Friend. And this takes my XML and converts it into an Excel doc. And this doc will contain all the data that I need for now: shot records, plates, and other elements, durations. It can all be set to include just about any metadata you might want out of the system. And it's all broken out, very neat, and it's clean. And now I flip back to my exported thumbnails, and again there's a little cleanup to do. So I'll use Renamer just like before. Bring those thumbnails into my database to create shot records. And now I go back and I save my Excel as a CSV file, and I merge that data with the shot records based on the VFX ID. And there you go. Now I have my shots, and I have all of my information. Oh, but there's one more thing. I need to label these with burn-ins. I can do that as an effect. I find it, and I can add it to all my shots with a single click. So that's it. There are a lot of little steps, but the cool thing is that we just processed twice the number of shots in less than half the time. Thanks.